Welcome to Brainish English Stories.
I was very interested at that time in a funny little woman. She was married, of course, because I do not like unmarried women who flirt. What fun is there in loving a woman who belongs to no one but can be with anyone? And besides, I do not like love that feels like a business. That makes me a little upset. The special thing about a married woman for a single man is that she gives him a home, a nice, sweet home where everyone takes care of you and treats you well, from the husband to the servants. You find everything there: love, friendship, even fatherly care, food, and a place to sleep. It is everything that makes life happy. And the best part is that you can change your family from time to time. You can live in different places. In summer, in the countryside with a worker who rents you a room in his house. In winter, with people in the town, or even with rich people if you want. I have another problem. I get close to the husband as well as the wife. I even feel that some husbands, who may be rough or not very smart, make me not like their wives, even if they are nice. But when the husband is smart or nice, I always get very close to him. I make sure that if I have a problem with the wife, I do not have a problem with the husband. This way, I have made some of my best friends, and I have also seen many times that men can be better than women. The women make a lot of trouble, they complain a lot. But the men, who have the same reason to complain, treat you like you are very special to them. Well, my friend was a strange little woman, with dark hair. She was imaginative, changeable, very religious, and believed in many things, but she was also very nice. She kissed in a way that I never saw in anyone else, but that was not the only reason I liked her. Her skin was so soft. It made me very happy just to hold her hands. And her eyes. Her look was like a slow touch, sweet and never-ending. Sometimes I would rest my head on her knee and we would stay still, with her bending over me with that mysterious, gentle smile that women have. My eyes would look into hers, feeling so happy, as if I was getting drunk on the look of her clear blue eyes, clear like they were full of loving thoughts, and blue like they were a sky full of joy. Her husband, who was an inspector of some big public works, was often away from home, so we had our evenings free. Sometimes I spent them with her, lying on the couch with my head on one of her knees. On the other knee lay a big black cat called Misty, whom she loved very much. Our fingers would touch on the cat's back and would play with its soft, silky fur. I felt its warm body against my cheek, shaking with its never-ending purring, and sometimes a paw would reach out and touch my mouth or my eyelid, with 5 sharp claws that would poke me a little, and then pull back right away. Sometimes we would go out on what we called our little adventures. They were very innocent, though. We would have dinner at a small inn in the suburbs, or after eating at her house or mine, we would visit the cheap cafes, like students having fun. We would go into simple drinking places and sit at the back of the smoky room on 2 old chairs, at an old wooden table. The air was full of strong smoke mixed with the smell of fried fish from dinner. Men in work clothes were talking loudly as they drank their small glasses of alcohol, and the surprised waiter brought us 2 cherry drinks. She, trembling and sweetly afraid, would lift her black veil just enough to show her nose, and then pick up her glass, enjoying the feeling of doing something a little naughty. Each cherry she swallowed made her feel like she was doing something wrong, and each sip of the burning drink felt like a secret pleasure. Then she would whisper to me, "Let's go," and we would leave, with her walking quickly, head down, between the drinkers who watched her go by with a look of disapproval. As soon as we got outside, she would breathe a big sigh of relief, as if we had escaped from some terrible danger. Sometimes she would ask me with a shiver, "What if they said something rude to me in those places? What would you do?" "Why, I would protect you, of course," I would reply firmly, and she would squeeze my arm in happiness, maybe secretly hoping that someone might insult her, so she could see me defend her, even against those men. One evening, as we were sitting at a table in a tavern in Montmartre, we saw an old woman wearing torn clothes come in, holding a pack of dirty cards in her hand. Seeing a lady, the old woman quickly came over to us and offered to tell my friend's fortune. Emma, who believed in everything, was trembling with excitement and worry, and she made room beside her for the old woman. The old woman, with her wrinkled face, red eyes, and toothless mouth, began to spread out her dirty cards on the table. She put them in piles, then gathered them up, and spread them out again, mumbling words we couldn't understand. Emma, looking pale, listened without breathing, feeling very anxious and curious. The fortune-teller finally spoke. She predicted many things: happiness and children, a fair young man, a trip, money, a lawsuit, a dark man, the return of someone, success, and a death. The mention of death caught Emma's attention. "Whose death? When? How?" The old woman replied, "Oh, the cards are not clear enough for that. You must come to my place tomorrow. I will tell you with coffee grounds, which never make a mistake." Emma turned to me, worried. "Please, let's go there tomorrow. Oh, please say yes. If not, you can't imagine how worried I'll be." I began to laugh. "We will go if you want to, dear." The old woman gave us her address. She lived on the 6th floor, in a poor building behind the Butte-Chameau. We went there the next day. Her room, a small attic with only 2 chairs and a bed, was filled with strange things. There were bunches of herbs hanging from nails, animal skins, and bottles with liquids of different colors. On the table, there was a stuffed black cat with glass eyes. It looked like the spirit of this strange place. Emma, almost fainting with emotion, sat down on a chair and said, "Oh dear, look at that cat. It looks just like Misty." She then told the old woman that she had a cat, exactly like that, exactly like that. The old woman replied seriously, "If you love a man, you should not keep it." Emma, suddenly scared, asked, "Why not?" The old woman sat down close to her and took her hand. "It ruined my life," she said. My friend wanted to hear more. She leaned closer to the old woman, asking her to tell the story. Finally, the woman agreed. "I loved that cat," she said, "like someone would love a brother. I was young then and all alone, a seamstress. I only had him, Mouton. One of the tenants gave him to me. He was as smart as a child, and very gentle too, and he adored me, dear lady, he adored me more than anything. All day long he would sit on my lap, purring, and all night long he would sleep on my pillow. I could feel his heart beating, really. Well, I met someone, a nice young man who worked at a shop. We were just friends for about 3 months. But, anyone can fall in love, it can happen to anyone, and besides, I had really started to love him. He was so kind and so good. He wanted us to live together to save money. I finally agreed to let him visit me one evening. I hadn't decided on anything serious. Oh no! But I liked the idea of spending time together. At first, he behaved very nicely, saying sweet things that made my heart beat fast. Then he kissed me, madam, kissed me like someone does when they love. I stayed still, my eyes closed, in a moment of pure happiness. But suddenly, he jumped back and screamed, a scream I will never forget. I opened my eyes and saw that Mouton had jumped at his face and was scratching it with his claws like it was a piece of cloth. And blood was running down like rain, madam. I tried to pull the cat away, but he held on tight, scratching all the time, and he even bit me, he was so wild. I finally got him and threw him out of the window, which was open because it was summer. When I started to clean my poor friend's face, I saw that his eyes were hurt, both of his eyes. He had to go to the hospital. He died of sadness after a year. I wanted to keep him with me and take care of him, but he didn't want that. It seemed like he hated me after what happened. As for Mouton, his back was broken from the fall. The janitor found his body. I had him stuffed because, even after all that, I still loved him. If he did what he did, it was because he loved me, don't you think? The old woman stopped talking and started to gently touch the stuffed animal, whose body shook on its metal frame. Emma, feeling sad, had forgotten about the predicted death. Or, at least, she didn't mention it again, and she left, giving the woman 5 francs. Since her husband was coming back the next day, I didn't visit her house for several days. When I finally did go, I was surprised not to see Misty. I asked where he was. She blushed and said, "I gave him away." I was worried. I was surprised. Worried. Worried about what? She gave me a long kiss and said softly, "I was worried about your eyes, my dear."